In this video, we are going to talk about Luna, some of its recent price action, the important support and resistance areas, and where we can expect the price of Luna to go in the next few days and weeks. So we will be looking at the weekly chart, and what you can see here is that Luna has been in a downtrend since 2023, with it consistently creating lower highs. And more recently, since late 2025, we have actually seen Luna start to create higher lows right here, as well as more recently some higher highs as well, with the recent high being from back in May. But despite this potential trend reversal for Luna, it is still very clearly holding on to this downtrend, and it has not broken above this downtrending trend line. And since then, in the last couple of months, we have seen Luna continue to get rejected off of it, dumping towards the trend line that has behaved as support many times in the past. Currently, Luna is at this area where it consolidated at back in 2025, as well as where it got support from back in 2024 and 2023. So this seems to be a pretty important area of support for Luna, and it does increase the chances of Luna starting to get some support from here and stopping with the dump. Since April, we've seen Luna get a very significant rally, getting support from this trend line and rallying all the way up to the next trend line that behaved as resistance. This was also in correlation, of course, with Bitcoin getting a significant rally. Bitcoin went all the way up to about 82k, but since then, in the last couple of months, we've seen Bitcoin get a very significant dump from 82k all the way down to about 60k. And in the last couple of weeks, we've seen Bitcoin struggle around that area of 60k. And the market is trying to decide whether Bitcoin can hold onto this area as support and continue getting another relief rally from there, or if it will just break down below it right away. Bitcoin has been looking very weak in the last few weeks, and it is honestly not looking great for it. And in general, I do still think that we are in a bear market. Also, guys, if you are enjoying these updates and you want more videos about Luna, as well as other altcoins and the crypto market in general, make sure to subscribe. It helps the channel a lot, and it allows me to continue making these videos. So make sure to hit the subscribe button. And now let's continue with the analysis of Luna. Despite the relief rally by Bitcoin recently, and even if it does manage to get another relief rally again, I do still think that eventually it will continue dumping further, break down significantly below 60k, which it already has, went all the way down to about 58k or so. But I think that it will continue dumping even lower and create new lows for this bear market. That's at least in the long term. Again, in the short term, there can be some relief rallies, but I'm not too optimistic about Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market at the moment. And also in bear markets in general, altcoins tend to significantly underperform Bitcoin. Of course, there can be some exceptions, but I don't really see a reason to why Luna would be one of those exceptions. And I think that even if Luna does manage to get another relief rally back up to this trend line, it will eventually get rejected off of it and continue dumping further. Eventually, at some point, Luna needs to get a decision point and break out of this wedge, either up or down. And I think that it is a lot more likely for it to break down from this wedge, to eventually break down below this trend line, lose this support area, and continue to create new lows as we go further into 2026. As I said, I am expecting Bitcoin to head significantly below 60k eventually in the long term. And once that does happen, I would expect Luna to dump even more than Bitcoin and probably get into new all-time lows. I'm not saying this will happen very soon. It could take a while, but I do think that it will eventually happen sometime in the coming months. And as I said many times on this channel before, I'm not very optimistic about altcoins as a whole at the moment. I think that since we are in a bear market, most altcoins are likely going to underperform Bitcoin very significantly. And of course, in a bear market, Bitcoin itself will also continue dumping a lot. For us to get an altcoin season, we would first need to see Bitcoin get into new all-time highs, followed by Ethereum getting new all-time highs as well. This is what historically leads to altcoin seasons, and at the moment this is very far away from being the situation in the market. So I think that this is very unlikely. And again, as I said, in the long term, I would expect Luna to continue dumping. In the short term, maybe a rally up to the trend line would be the best case scenario in my opinion, but even that doesn't seem very likely for me, since Bitcoin is looking very weak at the moment. I think that the best chance for Luna is if Bitcoin manages to get a bit of a relief rally up to around 70k or so. It can create another lower high, like we've seen it create back a couple of months ago when it went all the way up to 82k. I think it's possible for it to get another relief rally, but even that doesn't seem that likely to me at the moment. And even if it does happen, I would expect Bitcoin and Luna and basically the entire crypto market to eventually continue to create new lows. I think that we will likely see most of the crypto market struggle a lot, at the very least for most of 2026, and possibly even a bit further than that. It could even extend into 2027. The first sign, in my opinion, to a potential trend reversal for Luna. An actual decisive trend reversal is if it manages to cross above this trend line first and then above this recent high from May. If it does actually manage to do that and close a weekly candle above this recent high from May, this would actually be a very positive sign for Luna, but at the moment this is very far away from being the reality, and there are some very significant resistance areas in the way for Luna, so I think it is very unlikely to happen at least anytime soon, and I would expect Luna, as I said, to continue dumping in the long term. And in general, I'm quite pessimistic about altcoins as a whole, and at the moment I would avoid being heavy into altcoins. I would mostly stick into Bitcoin, maybe a bit of Ethereum at most, but that's really it. With altcoins, what I would do, I would only get into some very selectively in small amounts, only altcoins that have a very good structure, and I would have very clear exit signals, whether it is taking profits or exiting at a loss. I would not hold any altcoins really, other than maybe Ethereum at most in the long term, and I would even be very cautious with Ethereum, since again, as I said, I think that we are most likely still in a bear market. But guys, just a reminder that despite everything that I said and me being pessimistic about altcoins and Luna as well, compared to most other altcoins, Luna is actually not doing that bad at all. It is actually still in a local uptrend. It has actually created a very significant high recently and got a very significant rally back in April to May. So Luna isn't actually that weak compared to many other altcoins, and it has actually been outperforming Bitcoin even quite recently in the last few months, so I can't say that it is actually doing that poorly. Bitcoin went all the way back down to where it was in February, to around 60k, while Luna is actually significantly above where it was back in February, about 100% above where it was back then. So it is actually quite strong, honestly, compared to many other coins. But again, in the long term, I'm quite pessimistic about Luna, and I don't think that it will continue outperforming Bitcoin in the long term, most likely. So you guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it and you want more updates about Luna as well as other altcoins and the crypto market in general, make sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.